Dating is bad because it's irrational and it's not the most efficient way to select the right person. And it ends up leading to all these complications and failures and cohabitations and co-relationships and these boyfriend girlfriend ambiguous degrees of commitment. And the reality is that we are irrational in different ways. For example, myself, I do fantasize about certain women because I think men have this draw towards the thicker women. But these are also women that I would never actually want to have kids with or marry because they're they're not as healthy. And the women that I do find attractive and that I would want to marry, they I don't fantasize about them as much. So, but at least I'm conscious of it, and I know that even though a I might have one attraction, I know that in the long term, like if you marry a woman who's thicker or women who are thicker, they end up having health problems and their existence is unsustainable. They're not trying to live as long as possible. And I really want to emphasize this word unsustainable because when I say dating is bad, that's also ambiguous. It's not really clear. It's like, how do you define bad? Is it a sin? Like, does it? And I would say that it is because engaging in premarital intimacy, and it's unloving, and it's unclean, and it's unclear as to what the intentions are, and so it ends up being where people are seducing and one another's brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers and sons and daughters and reduces the level of trust in the collective. And so people should not trust each other. But is that ideal? Is it ideal for men to want to be with women who've been with other men, and for women to want the same, and for people to dilute themselves and have all these attachments and comparisons to each other before you actually quote unquote find the right one? See, finding the right one is really about it's about your self identity. It's being in love with yourself because you know who you are, you know what you want, and that's what leads to marriage. You can't pick somebody unless, as the cliche says, you first love yourself. You can't pick them because you don't know what would be a good match. Obviously, a good match is someone who has the same values and interests that you're super clear on. Maybe not all the same interests and values, but at least the core ones, the ones that will help you to really feel good about each other, and not about just only surviving, because humanity, what we've done for a lot of history is survive. We've pretended to like each other. We've gone through these religions and these marriage arrangements for the sake of the children or for the sake of a stable community. But now we have a chance where we have modernity and technology, but without the right ideology and without the right attitude and wholesome sacred approach to things, eventually it's all going to disappear. It's not sustainable, and part of it's men's fault for wanting a woman just for her body, and part of it's women's fault for not wanting a man who wants to commit to her and marry her. See, women seem to have this approach where they say that they want a man to marry them, and then they use their body to try to capture that man's attention and the enjoyment of physical intimacy to try to make him marry her. But that has the opposite effect, because a man, if he actually cares about a woman, he would want to commit to her first and then say, you know what, I like everything about you, and my commitment is more, the love that we want to create is more important than our bodies. So that way, even through the hard times of physical and financial limitations, there's still a certainty between each other. There's still this clarity of, oh yeah, we want to be together, and our love is not based on the mutual attraction to each other's bodies, because the reality of life is that many people will find each other friendly and attractive, and it's inadequate to forming a life pair bond. And then anyone who says that they don't want to form a life pair bond as if it's some quote unquote not catching feelings or not having this like ability to supersede attachment, or not needing someone. Like, all that's saying is that you don't want to be a husband or wife, or you don't want to be somebody who is able to experience love. And what happens is people go through these routines and they end up being incapable of love, of loving one person, because they always want novelty, or they can't even enjoy their work anymore because they're just too consumed by the interest and excitements of trying to find a new person for physical gratification. And of course, that act is tied in hand with other acts of alcoholism and other substance abuses. And these people, they just can't think. Their whole mind is captured by the forces of nature, and their body is controlling their mind. And so I would never want to be that. I would never want to be a quote unquote player, successful with women. That you're not successful with women unless you can be successful with one woman and she want to marry you, and you want to marry her. I mean, if these guys think they're so appealing, then why can't they find a woman who wants to marry him? So basically, women don't realize that that to attract a man, you don't use your body. What you do is you use acting like you want to follow him, finding what he is interested in and adopting it, and giving him hints in whatever ways, maybe through friend groups or whatever the ways you can. You hint at that you have common interests, and the man should only want to give his any energy and any, because men think they're like outsmarting the system and like getting the woman if they don't commit. But by default, all the extra time and energy and money a man has is going to go to a woman, whether he's married to her or not. So they are still committed, and the woman is still giving the man his body, even if she's thinking that she can do whatever she wants, or she can be a man. And this whole idea of like a man, of a woman, it not being ideal for her to Okay, so for her, it should be like she should want to be feminine. It's more powerful to want to be a woman and be in your feminine and find a man who, a man is truly rich if his woman doesn't have to work unless she wants to, and so, that's the essence of, and it's courageous to go towards that as men and women to want to. And this is like a general application. There are different instances in which it doesn't apply. People have their own preferences and interests, but this specifically, it's that women and men are meant to play these roles so that they can enjoy what their biology is naturally designed for. Women naturally prefer to be like caretakers of young children and like house supporters and keepers for their husband, and men naturally like to be providers. They like to go out and bring back the food, and so for women to think that they don't want like a father to help them find the right person, and then what women do is they just do all these irrational things. They do all this crazy makeup and all these body modifications and all this money spent on like pets and vacation but they're not, they don't like they and then like they want to freeze their eggs and later have children. Like it doesn't, it's not sustainable, and that's why dating is bad, because it promotes this gray area of people not really knowing what they want, but distracting each other with each other's bodies and pleasure, and when you really need to be focused on who you are, what you want. Like, do you want to have children? Do you not want to have children? And by the way, even if you don't have children, you're still going to want to invest into the future of younger people in different ways, and promote like your ideology and your values. And so that's really what being a parent and marriage means. It means two people who are really confident in who they are, and it's not about, oh, I want a child. It's like, oh, I want to share my values into a child, and then when they are old enough, then you guys know my ideas on how it's not, a parent-child relationship is not as loving as a brother-sister. So as adults, if you decide to adopt the same religion, then you're kind of like the spiritual brother-sister, and just like how in the Quakers or whatnot, they call each other brother and sister, and all of that is about, because you consider each other equals, because your relationship isn't based on having to play the roles of mother and father, emotional or financially supporting someone. It's about an equal who we've both chosen the same path, and let's work together to help each other to survive and thrive. And that's what I'm trying to do here, guys. I'm trying to see what is real and then separate the fakeness, see what is sustainable, and then separate the temporary, half-hearted, diluted, inauthentic, loveless experiences that people are experiencing. And so I've shared some truth here. Hopefully you'll share some truth in the comments, and if you liked it, then share this with at least one person who you think could make sense of it, or maybe you have a counter position or opinion. Share that too. Thanks for watching. Aloha.